What really happened to Courtney Hadwin after America's Got Talent? The shy girl with the golden buzzer and a voice like Janis Joplin became a global sensation overnight. But behind the fame was a heartbreaking truth no one saw coming. Bullied at school, doubted by the public, and dropped by her label, Courtney's rise came with pain most never knew. In this video, we break down her full journey from busking in the cold to battling the music industry. Stick around because Courtney's story isn't just shocking, it's one of survival. This is the tragic, powerful truth behind AGT's most unforgettable voice. A nervous girl from nowhere, in 2018, a 14-year-old girl stepped onto one of the biggest stages in the world. It was America's Got Talent, and she was about to audition. She stood in the spotlight with shaking hands, her body visibly trembling. You could almost feel her heart pounding through the screen. Her name, Courtney Hadwin. The judges looked curious but cautious. She barely spoke above a whisper when they asked her questions. But it was what happened after the music started that would change her life forever. She came from Heselden, a quiet working-class village in the northeast of England, a place that hadn't made headlines in decades. Coal country, cold, forgotten, and tucked far away from music cities like London or LA. It's the kind of place where you don't see showbiz dreams come true. Her grandfather once said, Courtney always had something different in her. It showed early. She'd sing around the house, humming soul music like she was born in another decade. Her parents didn't have much, but what they did have, they gave to help her chase that spark. Still, it wasn't enough. So Courtney took matters into her own hands. She started busking on weekends, singing outside shopping centers, catching the attention of strangers just passing by. Not for attention, not for fun, but for survival. Every coin dropped into her case paid for her voice lessons. She would sing for hours just to afford 30 minutes in the studio, her mom recalled, teary-eyed. So when she stood on that stage and Otis Redding's Hard to Handle began to play, the world was about to witness years of silent sacrifice erupt into one unforgettable moment. As soon as she opened her mouth, everything changed. The timid girl transformed. Her body jolted with rhythm. Her voice roared like it had lived 100 lives. The judges were stunned. The audience screamed. By the end, they were all on their feet. And just like that, 11 million people saw her live. Within days, her audition passed 250 million views. It wasn't just a performance. It was a resurrection of rock and soul from the unlikeliest of places. But what no one knew yet was how much pain, rejection, and fight had gone into that one 3-minute song. The Janis Joplin reincarnation moment. The instant Courtney finished, Judge Howie Mandel slammed the golden buzzer. Gold confetti rained from the ceiling and Courtney froze, almost paralyzed by disbelief. Her eyes widened, her hands pressed against her face. She had no idea what to do, but the crowd sure did. They exploded with cheers. "You are not from this era," Howie said, shaking his head in awe. "You're a soul trapped in the wrong time." Even Simon Cowell, known for his brutal honesty, looked floored. "You're like a lion when you sing," he told her. "I mean that." Within hours, clips of her performance had flooded the internet. Everyone was talking about the strange, shy girl who sang like Janis Joplin and danced like she was born on a James Brown tour bus. People didn't just like her, they needed her. Social media crowned her the reincarnation of Janis. Headlines called her the savior of soul rock. Music blogs said she was the shock AGT needed. She had this wild, untamed voice that made people feel something again. But for Courtney, that moment was bittersweet. Because while the world was just discovering her, they didn't know what it had cost her to even stand on that stage. Behind the glitter, she carried years of pain. Before Courtney ever stepped onto a TV stage, she was just a kid with a dream and a voice that didn't quite fit in. At school, she wasn't popular. She wasn't even liked for singing. In fact, that's what made her a target. Kids would whisper behind her back, roll their eyes when she sang in music class. Some didn't whisper at all. "You sound like a boy," they'd tell her. "It's weird." Others straight up told her to stop singing. Crushed her. She didn't sing to impress. She sang because it was the only way she felt like herself. Her idols weren't pop stars. She didn't care about chart hits or trends. She was obsessed with Janis Joplin, Little Richard, James Brown, and Aretha Franklin. Her voice was raw, soulful, powerful, and completely out of place in her tiny English school. Even after she appeared on The Voice Kids UK in 2017, things didn't get better. Though she made it to the finals and performed hits like I Got You, I Feel Good, the internet trolls came out fast. She's just screaming, some wrote. This isn't singing. It's noise. Her granddad remembered reading one of the comments aloud. He paused halfway through. It broke her, he said, but she kept going. Courtney never fought back with words. She fought back with music. I'd rather be different than fake, she once said. At just 12 years old, while most kids were worrying about homework and games, Courtney Hadwin was on the streets singing. Her family couldn't always afford vocal training, but she didn't let that stop her. She began busking in town centers, bringing her old-school soul voice to cold British streets. She never asked for handouts, her mother recalled. She earned every lesson she got. Some people loved it. Shopkeepers would bring her warm drinks or clap along. Others weren't so kind. Other buskers got territorial, her grandfather remembered. They didn't like a kid drawing bigger crowds. Courtney didn't care. She stood in the cold, pouring her voice into the wind for anyone who would listen. Every pound she made went straight back into her training. No makeup, no flashy lights, just grit. She'd come home with freezing hands and a full heart. Before America knew her name, the UK already had a glimpse. In 2017, Courtney competed on The Voice Kids UK. It should have been her big break. She sang with fire, channeling James Brown, moving like Tina Turner, giving everything on that stage, and she made it to the finals. But what happened next hurt more than any elimination ever could. Viewers weren't kind. It's not singing, it's shouting. One tweet read, "She's trying too hard." The school, it got worse. The classmates who once ignored her turned mean. Fame made them nastier. Her father admitted it was jealousy, plain and simple. Courtney began dreading the hallway. What should have been a celebration became a nightmare. She could have stopped right then, but she didn't. When Courtney Hadwin's America's Got Talent audition blew up, headlines painted a perfect fairy tale. A nervous mystery girl from a forgotten English village who stunned America with a voice from another era. Producers leaned hard into that angle. Every story package built her up as a total unknown. But within days, fans online discovered that Courtney had already competed on The Voice Kids UK. There were clips, news articles, interviews. She wasn't an unknown. Suddenly, the viral story started to crack. Some fans called it fake. "This feels staged," one tweeted. Others accused her of lying. The backlash didn't fall on the producers, it fell on Courtney. At just 14 years old, she became the center of a controversy she didn't ask for. "People thought I lied," she later shared. "But I never said I hadn't sung before." The pressure was crushing. Instead of celebrating her voice, people began to question her honesty. But Courtney didn't respond with drama. She didn't go online to defend herself or rewrite the narrative. She did what she'd always done. She went back to the music. She kept showing up, kept singing, kept proving that her voice wasn't manufactured or fake. It was real, just like her. To the outside world, Courtney Hadwin was living a dream, viral stardom, standing ovations, millions of fans. But inside, it didn't feel like a dream. It felt like a cage. When the world is screaming your name, it's easy to feel surrounded. But Courtney was more alone than ever. She didn't get invited to Hollywood parties. She didn't want to. "Talking scares me," she once said. "Singing is the only time I feel brave." Her parents noticed the change. "She didn't know how to be famous," her father said. "She just knew how to sing." Even back home, things felt different. Friends drifted. People treated her like she had changed, even though she hadn't. Courtney struggled to find where she fit in. Too famous for normal life, too private for celebrity life. Even after her AGT run, Courtney couldn't escape the cruel voices. Back in school, the bullying didn't stop. Some classmates mocked her voice, calling it weird or fake. Others spread rumors. Online, the attacks were even more brutal. Strangers dissected everything: her look, her movements, her gender expression. It wasn't critique. It was hate. Courtney saw Ed Sheeran quit Twitter because of similar abuse. She thought about doing the same. I almost left, she admitted. But I stayed because I knew they were wrong. By the middle of the AGT season, Courtney Hadwin had become the show's sweetheart and its controversy. Fans noticed she always performed last, always got the biggest reactions. They're clearly giving her special treatment, people said. Some thought it was rigged. But Courtney didn't clap back. She kept singing. She didn't win, but she won the world. When the finale aired, she placed 6th. The reaction was shock, anger, confusion. She was robbed, trended online. But Courtney smiled. I didn't come to win, she said. I came to show who I am. And in that moment, she walked away with her soul intact. After AGT, Courtney signed with Simon Cowell's Psycho Music and Arista Records. For any teenage artist, it was a dream, major label backing, global promise. She released The Cover Sessions, a haunting EP that reminded fans why they loved her. Plans were made for Woodstock 50, a perfect fit, but the festival collapsed. Then came COVID-19. Live music stopped. Psycho Music folded in 2021. Without warning, Courtney was dropped. No label, no PR, just 17 years old and starting over. Everything I thought was solid just vanished, she wrote. I was back to doing it alone. But this time, she wanted to do it her way. Her first independent tracks, Breakable, That Girl Don't Live Here, and Monsters, showed her evolution. Gritty, honest, fearless. People used to say I was too loud, too weird, she told fans. Now I make music for people who get me. And people did. Her sound evolved rock, punk, soul, and her message was clear. She didn't need validation. The more she carved her own path, the more she defied the industry. She turned down offers that came with strings attached. Labels wanted her to go commercial. She refused. I'd rather be small and real than big and fake, she said. That integrity earned her something even greater, a loyal fan base. They followed her everywhere. She co-wrote her songs, directed her visuals, controlled her sound. She wasn't playing the game. She was rewriting the rules. By 2024, the transformation was undeniable. The once shy girl had become a powerful storyteller. Her music tackled mental health, trauma, resilience, and healing. Music helped me say everything I couldn't, she told a London crowd. That year, she performed at the New York Pops Gala, invited by Clive Davis. She didn't shout. She simply sang and silenced the room. Her debut album, expected in late 2025, promises to tell her story with no edits. Every lyric, every rasp, every chord, authentically hers. Now looking back, it's clear Courtney Hadwin was never a phase or a fluke. Even when she shook on stage, it wasn't an act, it was fear. Even when she avoided interviews, it wasn't arrogance, it was anxiety. And even when she sang like her life depended on it, it's because it did. At just 19, she's endured more than most artists do in a lifetime. She's faced public backlash, school bullying, online cruelty, and industry rejection. But she never lost her voice. She's still here, still singing, still unapologetically loud, soulful, awkward, and brilliant. She's not just a singer. She's a reminder that the quietest souls often have the loudest voices. Because Courtney Hadwin isn't chasing dreams anymore. She's building a legacy, one note at a time. Her story proves fame isn't always a fairy tale. But real voices can't be silenced. From bullying to independence, she's still standing, still singing. If her journey moved you, please hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. And remember, the quietest ones often have the loudest impact.